Welcome, everybody. So this is our second series of using Microsoft Teams, and we're going to focus today on some of the advanced features of Microsoft Teams. There's a great number of people on the call right now. I'm assuming that a lot of you are folks that attended the session, I think it was a week or two ago, where we went through the basics of what Microsoft Teams is and how it works. So I'm going to share my screen again with you here real quick. There we are. All right. So getting started here, let's do some basic introductions. In case there are people on the call who weren't here the last time, my name is Todd Knapp. I am the founder and CEO of Envision Technology Advisors. Envision is a 20-year-old IT consulting practice with offices in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. And among the things that we do, we are Microsoft specialists. And specifically, we are digital transformation specialists. And not all digital transformation requires Microsoft technologies, but I won't get into that today because the focus is on advanced usage of Teams. We've got a lot to get through today, so I'm going to try and keep this moving. Before we do, a little bit of housekeeping here. First of all, if you find what we're talking about interesting, feel free to follow us, like our Facebook page, please. There's always really good content coming out there. And then, of course, you can email me directly with any questions or hit me up on Twitter. All those are viable ways to get to me. There is a full spate of additional webinars around the more granular elements of digital transformation as the year progresses here. So by all means, if this is interesting to you, connect up with us. Along the way today, I've got a silent voice on the phone here. I'm going to ask him to unmute himself and introduce himself.
Hello, Todd and everybody. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Jeremy. So, Jeremy, tell everybody about your role at Envision and what you'll be doing for us today on the call.
So I'm the Director of Marketing for Envision Technology Advisors, and I'm going to be monitoring the questions today. So if anyone has any questions that they want to pose to Todd, I can certainly get that in front of him so the webinar itself can be a little more interactive and we can make sure that we're getting you the information that you want to hear.
Yeah, sort of an occupational hazard of mine. I get on a roll and I don't always watch the Q&A so closely, so we're going to have Jeremy doing that for us, and he'll find moments when he can break in. All right. So just a quick refresher from last time. Last time that we did this webinar, we were talking about how Microsoft Teams fits into the larger landscape of how your networks are being redesigned for digital transformation. That really, in the old days of networking, we had a lot of silos, and we had security and identity in one area, and files, unstructured data living on file servers, and we had some applications that had their own authentication and their own data sets that were in structured formats like databases, sometimes multiple databases. We had phone systems that were disconnected from all of that. And then in recent years, some cloud applications. And a lot of times our cloud applications are fully disconnected from the authentication systems that we use in our own office. And additionally, we have been in the habit of saying to our users, oh, if you want to enter vacation time requests, use ADP. So go to this website to do that, and it's up to them to remember where those things are. And a lot of times that's sort of where the birth of the intranet came from, right? Was we've got all these disparate resources and we wanted to try and find ways to aggregate them. Well, Microsoft Teams gives us a central hub from which we can work that allows all of our applications, things that are in that Microsoft ecosystem, things that are not in the Microsoft ecosystem, to be aggregated together in one central place so that people can be as effective and productive as possible. It's about gaining efficiency, it's about gaining mobility, it's about being able to work from anywhere. And at the top of that stack is our identity control. And so we're going to talk intermittently today about security of information and security of identity, but that's why having a meaningful control plane deployed is pretty central to the conversation. I'm going to show you things today that Teams can do that are very exciting, but that are also a major security risk if that control plane isn't addressed. So one of the things that I know and that worries me is that following this event with COVID, we've sent a lot of people home. And we sent them home. We rolled out Teams really fast. A lot of companies did that as a sort of a knee-jerk reaction to needing to be able to work. And as a result, I don't think the security has been addressed. So, part of what the message is today is these are the things that you can do in Teams, but I want you guys to also think very carefully about handling the security side, and we can help you with that. We can talk about it after the event is over. I did get a question just now asking if there is a recording of the previous session on the basics of Microsoft Teams. The answer to that question is absolutely. It's on our YouTube channel. If you would like, you can email me following this event. I'll put my email address up on the screen again, and I'll be glad to send you a link. Okay, so let's jump into it. Whoop. I'm going to stop my video now so that Microsoft Teams can have it. So give me just 1 second while I do that. This entire session is all going to be live demos. And it's my favorite thing to do. It's also the highest risk thing that I do because sometimes demos surprise you. Okay, so just quick reminder. We talked about the difference between chats and Teams already. We've had that conversation once. And we've talked about what these numbers mean and what the @ symbols mean, things you've been tagged in, things you haven't yet responded to, activity you haven't yet reviewed. We haven't talked about things like telephony and the ability to go in and simply dial a phone number and be able to have somebody join your conversation. So if I dialed my cell phone right now from this system, 401, here we go. Whoops, too many numbers in that. Whoopsies. There we go. We can see that this is actually dialing out right now, and I'm getting an inbound phone call on my cell phone at the moment as we speak. The telephony system in Microsoft Teams, when I expand this, you can see I have a direct inward dial phone number. This is a number that I make freely available to people. So you can also see all the call history I've gotten, voicemails that I've received that I can check right from here. And a voicemail that comes into me like this one that I got earlier today, if I don't see it, this also ends up in my email. So in my Outlook right now, I've got an email message saying, hey, you've got a voicemail that you missed and haven't listened to yet. So Microsoft Teams is designed to give me lots of visibility to my telephony. Now, here's one of the key things that I think is important about Teams. A lot of Microsoft Teams is about talking about, okay, what do the technologies cost to have security? What do the technologies cost to have telephony? Everybody asks me that question, but the reality is that the better question is, how much money am I going to offset by using these technologies? In the old days, I had a hard phone system, wires and handsets and all that kind of stuff. The phone system itself, when I replaced the phone system for Envision, years ago, the last time I actually bought a phone system, I think I spent $18,000 on a really nice phone system, and then several $1,000s to get it installed, and then I had to buy phone lines to connect to it, and so I had service costs from my partners. I already own Microsoft Teams. All I need to do to enable this is buy the service, and I can basically cancel all my other phone lines. In my Microsoft tenant, I can configure things like the ability to set up locations for 911 calls and all that kind of stuff. There's also an ability to add actual handsets to this stuff. So there's a huge world of telephony attached to Microsoft Teams that's available to us. Now, what we wanted to pick up on when we left last time was we left off looking at modern medical solutions, and this is actually a new customer, and it's a fake new customer, modern medical solutions, and I've created a team for modern medical solutions. The first thing I need to do is decide some things about the team. First of all, what channels do I need? So I know that I need an app development channel, and we covered this in our last session, but I thought I would show this to you real quickly. One option is, because we didn't talk about this last time, is that I can make this channel private, and only specific users that are member of the larger team will be able to access this channel within the team. But for now, I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to click Add, and I'm adding this channel. And so I know I've got an app development thing I need to do for Modern Medical. And I'm going to also add some people to this team that I think need to be members. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add Let's see, let's add an app developer. Let's add Ryan. He's going to be part of this. I'm going to go ahead and add Jeremy, our marketing director, because he may end up contributing to this at some point. And I'm going to go ahead and add Kyle. Kyle's on our Power BI development team, Power BI analyst. I'm going to add him to this team and close this. All right, so now I've kind of set up my team here for Modern Medical Solutions. I've done some things. I can go into some of these channels, like my general channel, and I could manage this channel and decide that, you know what, I want to be the only one that can post to this channel. I'm the owner of the team. I'm going to use general as my way to communicate to the larger group. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and set that channel that way. All right, so now let's talk about files related to Microsoft Teams. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, you know, okay, what about this files tab? It's kind of clunky, it's kind of cumbersome. You know, if I wanted to upload files, I can, you know, grab something and, you know, we did a SpaceX event when SpaceX launched. I'm just going to drag this file in here, and I'm now uploading this file into my app development channel. If I want to open this file from here, I certainly can. I can click these three dots and I can open the file. I can either open it in a browser, or I can click it and it'll open it directly inside of Microsoft Teams. It's kind of a messy way to get things done. A better way for me to do this is to leverage Microsoft SharePoint, OneDrive, and Files on Demand. Now, you'll notice there's a sync button here. This is actually Files on Demand as connected to OneDrive. If I click this, this will sync this folder to my local computer, but there is a better way, because you'll notice I have a general channel and I have an app development channel. Maybe I only want to have one uplying folder for the Modern Medical Solutions team. So I'm going to open this team in SharePoint, and these are my files for app development. I'm just going to click one level up to Documents, and now there's all of my channels that are relative to this team, and now I'm going to click Sync. And so it's asking me, do you want to launch this in OneDrive? I'm going to say, yep, let's do that. So here we go. And it's now synchronizing my Modern Medical Solutions channel to my computer. So I'm going to go and just click on the Files and Folder button here and click that and drag it onto the screen so that you can see it. Okay, so in my OneDrive, as you can see, I've got, you know, normally here's an old conventional network drive. You'll notice there's an X on it. I don't use it much anymore. If I were to go up to my Envision Success OneDrive, which was created, Envision Technology Advisors, this was created at the point that I synchronized Modern Medical Solutions, there's my team. So when I click on this, now I have in app development, there's that file that I put in there. And so I can use this just like I would use any other server. And you'll notice there's a little icon here that shows a cloud next to it. This means this file lives in the cloud. I can right-click on this and say, this is a file that I want to make sure is always on the device, so that if I don't have internet access, it's always going to be there, even if I'm on an airplane. I can do that, and now it's synchronized, and you can see the green circle is filled in. I can also uncheck this, and so now what's happened is you notice I have a green circle, but it's no longer filled in. This means this file is still cached on my device. It is not being forcibly kept on my device. So if I only allocate a certain amount of space to files on my computer, this is a first in, first out situation. The next time I go to add a file, if there's not adequate space, this is the file that will get deleted. Now maybe, and by deleted I mean removed from my computer, not deleted from the cloud. Now maybe I actually want to free up space on my computer, and I've now said don't keep it on my device, but I also don't want to keep the cached copy. I'm just going to right-click on this and say free up space. And you can see it's now removed the cached copy, and the only version left is the link to the cloud. And now if I double-click on this file, it will download from the cloud and make the file available to me. And there's my document that I just grabbed from the cloud. It happens in seconds. It's a very, very fast process. So I'm going to go ahead and free this up again because I don't want to leave this here. And that's the basics of connecting teams to your file system. Now you'll notice on my side, I have several teams that I use a lot. I do a lot of Power BI development. I do a lot of work with my marketing team. And so we've got folders that we use, whole teams in Envision. And if we go back and look at our teams rollout here, here's my marketing Wolfpack. Inside this, I've got a whole lot of channels. Some of those channels I need to use regularly. I just share them. I just link them up as a folder so that I can work in and out of them seamlessly. Now, in addition to being able to do things like this, I could right-click in here and manually create a folder. Okay, so I'm inside app development right now. Let's just go back out to the root. I'm inside app development. Now, general, as you'll recall, only I can post into. I'm going to go in here and just create a folder. And I'm going to call it marketing collateral for our friends at Modern Medical. And I'll double click on that folder. And I did actually, I do have a logo file for them that I think qualifies as being marketing collateral. So I'm just going to drag that file in here. And there's my logo file. And you'll notice this is now synchronizing and it's now up. If I go back into Microsoft Teams and go back to my General tab and look at files, I'm going to see the subfolder that was created. And as I click into it, there's the logo file that I dropped in here. So this is now generally available to everybody that is a member of the team, making it really easy for me to create and distribute content to that group. But there is something else kind of slick about this and also very dangerous. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is my synced teams from Envision. If I go and look at my OneDrive, this personal OneDrive of mine, this is my OneDrive assigned to me by my company. One of the things in here is a folder called Microsoft Teams Chat Files. Every file I've ever dragged into a Microsoft Teams message as a chat is here. So I, for example, earlier today sent that Modern Medical Solutions logo to somebody. If I right-click on this and go to share, I'm going to see when I click the three dots, I can manage access, and I can see who I shared that with. I gave this file to Ryan Fairfield earlier today. Now, maybe I want him to still have access. Maybe I don't. I can stop sharing it from here, and even though he has the file link still in Teams, when he clicks it, it will tell him he no longer has permissions to the file. But similarly, I can have a folder that I create in my OneDrive, and let's just create a folder. We'll call it Modern Medical. And I'm going to right-click on this folder, and I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to wait for the folder to sync. And I'm going to say share. And I'm going to say anyone with this link can access this folder, and anybody can edit this folder. Anyone who has the link. Imagine what I just said. Anyone who has the link. This is a default setting in Microsoft Teams. So it is actually possible for your users right now to synchronize a folder that you guys have in Microsoft Teams that you set up on the fly because you were worried about being able to work during COVID. They can sync it to their local computer. They can right-click on it. They can say share. They can say anyone with a link, allow editing, and then post that link to the internet, and there's really nothing stopping anyone from accessing that data. Now, that's a big security liability. There is also some security advantage. So one of the things I can do in here is say, I don't want to allow editing. I want to set an expiration date for the link. I want to assign a password to this. And I can, this is telling me it's a weak password, so I'll add some numbers, some special characters. Now I've got a good password, some uppercase, some more lowercase, and now I've got a strong password. I could share this way. Likewise, I could say, instead of anyone with the link, only people at Envision who have the link, only people that have existing access, people, specific people, and then when I click on apply, I can now put in email addresses, both internal and external, and share this file with specific people. So maybe I want to give this to modmed@solutions@gmail.com. I'm going to click this. It's going to tell me, hey, this is outside your organization. Yep, I know. I'm going to click send, and ModMed now has access to the folder that I've created for them, and we can share files between us. I can always go back later and view the share and take a look at, okay, who did I give access to by going to manage access? Modern Medical was one of them. I can revoke that access, and now I don't have to worry about that file being shared any longer. But I mentioned that this was a big risk up here where I've got my Envision Technology Advisors shared folders. Look at this one that says Finance Team Documents. Would I want this shared outside my organization? Probably not. By default, Microsoft Teams Security is going to let you do it, but configured properly, when we go and say, all right, can I share this? You'll notice that sharing is not even an option for me here. If I go into a subfolder, can I share a subfolder? Probably I can. Let's click share. And I'm going to go back and try and share it with everybody in the world. Uh-oh, anyone with this link is grayed out. When I mouse over it, your organization settings are preventing you from selecting this option. Obviously, we are in the business of security at Envision, so we secure our own stuff. We have some choices that we make. We say, okay, we want to prevent people from sharing outside of our organization things that are part of teams. We want to give people some freedom to share things from their OneDrive. But can I really trust that my users are going to be smart about that? Maybe not. So what we do is we use things like Azure Information Protection to ensure that files that are created here that are shared externally still carry security with them in the world. For that, we are going to do a fully separate webinar just on Azure Information Protection, so I'm not going to harp on it. Okay, so let's go back to Teams and talk about the next thing. The next feature of Teams that I want to talk to you about is creating a poll. So here we are in Modern Medical Solutions in my chat. Very simple thing. Many of you may have already clicked it. If we click on Forms, this is going to pop up and say create a new poll. And we're going to say, are you interested in being a beta tester? Now you'll notice that Microsoft already knows, and they use AI and machine learning to do things like this, what some potential options are going to be. Yes, no, maybe. Do I want to add all? Do I want to add specific ones? You know, if I had said, what color do you think this app should be? You can see that it's already changed to a set of colors. What month should we publish the app? I don't even have to finish typing it. It already has looked at it and said, I have some suggestions for you. So let's go back to, do you want to be a beta tester? Okay, I'm going to add all these options, and I'm going to click next, and it's going to tell me, okay, I've created a poll. This is what it's going to look like. I'm going to send the poll. By default, when we send the poll, even though I've said that I am the only one that can post to this channel, because I've asked everybody if they want to participate in a poll, it automatically assigns permissions to this to allow people to vote. As I go in, and actually Jeremy is a member of this team, he's our moderator. I mean, he's our moderator in the background here. I'm going to ask him to just go and hit Modern Medical Solutions team, if you would, Jeremy, and vote on this. I'm going to vote too and say, no, I'm not willing to be a beta tester on this poll. Once I submit my vote, you'll notice that the results of the poll are public. So the way you use these polls is geared around being able to ask a question that you are comfortable with everybody seeing the answers in real time. Now you'll notice this just updated. Turns out that Jeremy is willing to be a beta tester. And so it's telling me that 2 people have responded, but it's not letting me see who they specifically are. For that, I need to go into Microsoft Forms. And once I go into Forms, here's my Microsoft Forms, and let me just pull this over. Here's my do you want to be a beta tester that was created, and I'll click on this. This is now where, if I wanted to, I can go in and view the responses and see there are now 3 responses, and I can view the respondents. The first one was me, the second one was Jeremy, the third one was Kyle Mueller, who we added to the team, got notified that there was a poll and decided that he would vote as well. He's also willing to be a beta tester. So I've now got a 67% yes response and a 33% no response. So very, very quick, simple application for polls. But maybe there are better use cases and things you'd rather do with forms. So I'm going to give you a more robust example, okay? One of the things we talked about doing for Modern Medical Solutions was creating for them a video series on how to perform basic procedures in their practice for their employee base, and we want to do some quizzes around that. So I'm going to go into Microsoft Stream, actually. Let me pull up my Microsoft Stream platform. This is, again, part of the Microsoft 365 framework. And here we go. and I've got a video that I recorded. Now, this is actually a real video that I recorded for my staff. I am actually an emergency first responder trainer, and when we first got involved in the whole COVID issue, we had some people who had to be at the office in the warehouse, so we said everyone needs to wear nitrile gloves, and it occurred to me people may not know how to safely remove them, so I recorded this video. Hey guys, in my update last Friday, I mentioned that we were changing standards in the office for things like shipping and receiving, and that if you needed to be in there, you needed to be wearing nitrile gloves. It occurred to me today, so I'm not going to make everybody watch this whole video, but the idea here was that we train them on safe removal procedures. There is actually a step-by-step process to do this in a way that won't contaminate yourself. Now, maybe this is something we created specifically for our friends over at Modern Medical Solutions. So first things first, let's take our stream video and add it to Teams. I'm going to go right up here and add and say stream, and it's going to load the stream application. I don't want to post to the tab channel automatically, but we'll go here, and it's going to query stream and try and find out what videos I have available to me. I have a lot of videos, so this is going to take a second. And while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go back into my Microsoft Forms, and I want to do two things. There's Forms. All right. In Forms, before our demo here, because I wanted to make this happen quickly for you, I created a quiz around how to safely remove nitrile gloves. Is it safe to contact the outside of a contaminated glove? Yes, no, maybe. How do you begin the process of glove removal? And there might be more questions than that normally. So this is more robust than the quiz that you saw a few minutes ago. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm also going to, I don't know why that didn't load, but we'll deal with that in a second. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to choose Forms, and I'm going to add this and just search on the word glove. Oh, I don't want to create, I want to add an existing form, excuse me. And there's my how to remove nitrile gloves safely. And I'm going to save this. I don't want to post to the team about it right now. And so now my quiz is integrated directly into my channel. Let's go back and see if we can add that stream video again. I don't know why that didn't load, but could have just been that I overclicked and got a little feisty with it. Oh, hazards of live demos. There we go. See, you guys all thought I was going to get burned by that, didn't you? So I'm going to click on video, and I'm just going to search on the word glove, and it's going to go out to my channel and see if I've got a video there that has that word in it. And there it is, how to safely remove nitrile gloves. And the tab name is going to be, I'm just going to call it removal video. Again, I don't need to auto post to the tab about it. All right, so now I've got my video, and it's now integrated natively inside of Teams. So from my user's point of view, they go to Modern Medical Solutions, they go to app development, there might be a post in here that I created that says, hey, this is a thing. They go and watch the video. And then I want them to complete the survey, and they can go and do that. Now, there is actually an even more robust way to make this happen. So let's go back to our video and stream and take a look at this. See where it says add form? I have interactivity. I'm going to go ahead and add a form. And so the first thing I'm going to do is paste the URL for the form. So I'm going to go back to my Microsoft Forms, which I think is one where I'm starting to have a lot of tabs here. Let's see where they are. Oh, maybe not. I think I closed it. No problem. We'll just reopen it. So I'm going to go back to my form. I'm going to go back to my how to remove nitrile gloves, and I'm going to go to share and copy this URL. So now I've got the copied URL, and I'm just going to go back here, paste the URL, and name this glove quiz. Oops. Okay. And I'm going to add it to my timeline. I want to put it at the end of the video. There's no point in asking them the questions after before they've even watched the video. So it's now going to be positioned on the timeline at 2 minutes, and I'm going to choose add to timeline. So now if I go back to the beginning of this, you're going to see a little dot down here, okay? So when my user in Microsoft Teams, I'm just going to close stream. When my user in Microsoft Teams goes to the video, Maybe the instruction is going to be launch it through the web browser. They just click that one link right there from Microsoft Teams. It pulls them into the video. They begin to watch the video.
Hey guys, in my update
And as they get towards the end of it,
but if you wash your hands thoroughly right afterwards, you should have no problem. Okay, that's it.
Oh, it sees that there's a quiz right after I said that's it, and it's going to launch my quiz natively inside of the video window, and my users can submit their responses. So is it safe to contact the outside of a contaminated glove? No, it's not. How do you begin the process of glove removal? Pinch the glove first, submit, and now my form will submit, and my user can actually continue to video directly from there.
Thank you.
And that's the tail end of the video. So now
Hey
back
guys,
in Microsoft Teams, whoops, we go back in Microsoft Teams. If I go back and refresh this, when I look at my timeline here, I am going to see that little dot. That's where my quiz is. I can click that quiz right there and launch into it or continue my video. Now that's all great, but let's talk about automation. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe we need to know anytime somebody's actually done it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Microsoft Flow can do for us in Teams. Now, here's the thing. I'm calling it Flow for a reason. I know there's some people out there who know a little about this and are going to go, Todd, it was renamed to Power Automate. Yes, it was. However, the URL is still flow.microsoft.com. They are still referred to as flows. So I'm going to go into my flows, and Power Automate is the tool that we use with Microsoft Teams to create automations around things, not just inside of Teams, but automations that interact with third-party applications out in the world. Applications, things that interact with, Twitter and I mean, there's literally, if I click on see all 354 popular services, a lot of these are Microsoft applications. Trello is not. Facebook is not. These are all, Salesforce is not. I have all kinds of automations pre-built for me that I can use in Flow. Or I can go to my flows, I can create one from scratch, and I can even use any API to any application. So I can use Microsoft Flow to blend the Teams world with the physical world. I could literally make it so that in Teams, I could go into a chat bot and say, stop extrusion machine 33, and automatically out on the plant floor, machine 33 will shut down. That's the level of power that you have inside of Flow. But we're going to do something simple today. I'm going to go inside the home button, and all I'm going to do is search on the word forms and look at what's pre-built for me just with Microsoft Forms. See more templates. These are all things built for me for forms already. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. All I wanted to do was let people know in Teams when somebody's actually submitted the form. So look at this right here, number 6, notify the team when a new response is submitted. So let's go ahead and create a flow. So I'm going to go in and click this, and it's going to have my template flow. It's validating me as a user. I click on continue, and it's going to pull me into the creator. And it's already got the flow built. All I have to do is pick my form. So what form am I talking about? Let's go in, and this was my glove removal form. And I think it was the how to remove nitrile gloves safely form. Okay. Then I'm going to go in and say what form ID again, same one. How to remove nitrile gloves safely. Then I'm going to say what team do I want to post this to? Well, we're going to post this. It's a whole list of all my teams. We're going to go down there in alphabetical order, and we've got Modern Medical Solutions. And what channel do I want to post the notification to? I'm going to post it to General. And what is the message going to say? It's going to say, hey, first thing I want to do is get my responder's email address. So-and-so has completed the quiz. Then I'm going to want to be able to view the results. So if we just go back to our Microsoft form, actually, I think I already closed it. I did. I'm good like that today. So I'm going to go to my how to remove nitrile gloves safely form, and I'm going to, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I want to see the results. So I'm going to go to the responses, and I'm just going to grab this URL and say, okay, let's add a link, and the link is going to be called view results, and I'm going to paste that link target, I'm going to tell it to open it in a new window and add it. And now I'm just going to save this flow. And it's now writing, and it is now saved. So now, if I were to view the video and I were to go back, and let's just preview the form, I were to go in and say, is it safe? No. Wash the glove while still wearing it, both wrong answers, click submit. This form has now been completed. Power Automate is going to instantiate. And when I go back into my general tab, I'm going to say, hey, Todd Knapp at envisionsuccess.net has completed the quiz, right? And so I can go in. I actually realized I didn't save that link, but the view response link I never saved. But there you go. It's posted to the team that the quiz has been completed. Now, I could have done this where when the form is submitted, it requires approval before it's posted as a result. I could have said if the quiz is completed and the score is over 80%, automatically add the user account for the application that the user is asking for access to. Maybe I made them watch a training video first. These are all things we can do. All right, so that's a whole lot about forms. Let's move on.
Hey, Todd.
So let's talk about, yes, go for it.
Just a really quick question. Someone asked regarding syncing devices, between everything. If you lose the device that you've been syncing files to, are those files now at risk?
Great question. So we're going to cover that on our Azure Information Protection webinar, but the short answer is if everything is properly configured, not only are they not at risk, they will self-destruct all by their lonesome after a given period of time if we want them to work that way. There is a tremendous amount of power and security when we have teams and we have the whole Azure Information Protection Suite configured properly behind it. And so what I meant by that is, let's say we lost a device and we said, okay, files have to check in once. They need to check in on the internet every single time they're accessed, and they need to check in at least once every 10 days. I need to see that device checking in. And if it doesn't check in, then automatically wipe anything on that device. So that's one way that we would say, okay, the device has been lost. Clearly, it's not going to check in because it's lost and I can't see it anymore. Or if I lost it and it's still online within the Azure platform, I could literally click that device and say, nuke this thing from orbit and wipe all the data from it. But I can't do that if Teams was rolled out without the control plane behind it. It is essential that the security is handled. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, thanks, Jeremy, for jumping in on that. All right, so now let's get into something else. So let's talk about third-party apps real quickly. One of the things that we did at Envision recently, and I need a browser for this, is we put in new software for our human resources group. And we created reviews.envisionsuccess.net. And this is how we are handling the review cycle for our employees. And it's a cloud-based application. And we only pick applications that support Microsoft authentication. So I'm showing you this to make a point. And that point is that there's an old saying, right? The old saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That used to be good advice, now it's bad advice. If you've got applications that do not support Microsoft authentication, they ought to be on the list of things that you're looking for replacements for. Because once I have an application, and maybe I want a review cycle system built into my modern med solutions, I'm going to go in, I'm going to choose to add a website, I'm going to call this reviews, I'm going to paste my URL, reviews.envisionsuccess.net. I'm not going to bother posting to the team, save it. When my users go to log in, when they go to access this application, it's going to ask them for their credentialing, their Microsoft credentialing. I see. This is a great example of, I gave it an HTTPS, I should have given it an HTTP because it automatically does a redirect. Once you click the login, it brings you into the application. But again, right from Microsoft Teams, I have the ability to just click on the app. I have the ability to simply click on the globe and open it in a separate web browser if I want to. I could edit this if I wanted and fix my... this is actually a good point. one of the things that you need to do with Teams is it will not accept non-secured pages. So you have to get on the other side of that authentication link, the other side of the SSL redirection to make that integration work. We actually did that at Envision, and we use it integrated in Teams. Almost every app can be configured that way. So that's just a real quick thing about, hey, you can integrate stuff that's not just Microsoft product. Okay, let's get into now talking about things like data gathering and applications and workflow. So what I'm going to do now is Modern Medical Solutions. I added a developer earlier to this. I'm just going to real quickly hit up Ryan and go Ryan Fairfield and start a quick video session with Ryan. Hey, Ryan, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. So good news, you're on a webinar.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, so I wanted to show everybody a little bit about Power Apps and app development. I know you and I talked about Modern Medical Solutions. I'm wondering if you've done anything with that yet.
Yeah, I whipped up a quick patient ingest app in Power Apps last night. Took me about like 20 to 30 minutes. It relies on a SharePoint list to view and edit, test patient data.
Oh, great. Awesome. And so I'm assuming that when we build this out, make it more live, we'd probably move it out of SharePoint lists and into SQL. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just, to demo it, make it
right,
quick.
Quick way to get the thing up and running. All right, cool. Well, I built a Modern Med team. I added you to it. You probably already received the notification.
Sure.
I'm going to publish the app inside there. Can you just share the app with me real quick, please?
Yeah, I can do that right now.
Great. As soon as you do that, I'm going to go and get that set up for you in the Teams. And what we'll do is all our dev work will happen there. That's where you can post stuff. So other than that, are we good? Is there anything else you need?
Just when you get some time, we could definitely use a analytics dashboard just to try to easily filter what patients belong in which group, something like that.
Okay, no problem. I can work on that for you.
Cool.
Am I all set? I'm shared?
Yep, you got it.
Awesome. All right, great. I'm going to call you back as soon as I get that published for you, okay?
Appreciate it.
Thanks, bye. All right, so I pulled in Ryan because I wanted to just demonstrate just how easy this really is. So I'm going to go back into Teams. I'm going to go back down to my Modern Medical Solutions, and I'm going to go to App Development Channel that we created. We've added a couple of things in here. I'm going to go ahead and add now a app. So Power Apps is part of the 365 ecosystem. It's a tool that we can use to create mobile applications for workflow within our companies. So we want to demonstrate to Modern Medical that this is possible. So we'll select the app that he's created and click Save, and it's going to integrate the app. So there's my app. That's awesome. I'm actually going to rename this because it's got his dev name in it. I'm just going to call it the ModMed app and save it and name the tab. So within the app, I can go in, select myself as the user. I can add a resident. I can do a resident lookup. So let's start with a resident lookup. Last four of social. Let's try things with an 8. Oh, we got Tori Thompson. It's all test data. So here's my user, ingested in 2015. Date of birth, 2011. Apparently we have a 4-year-old that we've ingested into the program, which is fine. I'm going to go just click back on the root of this and go back in and look at maybe adding a resident. So I'm going to add Jeremy Wisselhofer. Last four of social, 1, 2, 3, 4. What programs do I want to put that in? Let's put them in the day program and the residential program, and I'm going to save. Now, I'm noticing that this is taking some time. This shouldn't be taking this long. Something feels wrong to me. So I'm going to click on the app, and I can't seem to go back. I'll click Save again. An entry is required or has an invalid value. So I need my developer to know that. So I'm just going to go back and we'll refresh the app and see if even the data got in there. So let's go in and we'll do a lookup. And we'll look up by whistle. And there it is. So my data did record, but there's something going on that we're going to need to sort out. I'm guessing that because the home address was blank, it probably threw an error. So I'm going to just give my developer a heads up that that's the case and say, at Ryan, FYI, there's a saving error when nuke records are created and all fields aren't filled out. I think that's where the error is. So this is where we're going to be able to start doing some development between us to get a sense of, do some tracking of information so that we know what's going on with the app. But this is great. We created the ModMed app. Now, Ryan was asking us for some Power BI dashboards. Power BI is also a tool. So within the 365 framework. So the first thing I'm going to do is he told me on the call that the data is stored in a SharePoint list. I'm just going to click on Get Data. And he said it was a SharePoint list, so I'll type in list, and there it is, SharePoint lists. Click Connect. And it's going to come up and it's going to ask me for the URL for the SharePoint site. So all I'd have to do is go to SharePoint, click right in the browser window, grab the URL, paste it in here. I've already done that. So the two databases that he created are actually already imported into this. So he was looking for some way to visualize some of the data. So let's do it on the fly right now, and then we're going to integrate it into Teams. So first things first, he's going to want to know how many patients are actually in the program. So I'm going to go to the test app. I'm going to choose the unique ID that's assigned to each patient, which up front is going to look useless. I'm going to hit the drop down and say count the number of distinct user IDs. So now we have 30, and we'll call this patients in system. Okay. I mistypoed it. Sorry. The other thing you might want to know is he may want to know how many programs those people are actually enrolled in. So I'm going to do something similar. I'm just going to create a card for that and say, okay, let's look at programs. And let's, instead of doing a count distinct, let's count the number of total enrollments in programs. So we'll just clean this up a little bit. Enrollment count. Okay, and so we created a couple of cards here. We're just going to shorten that up. Now he said something about knowing how many people are in each program. So let's go ahead and add a pie chart to this. And I'm just going to go in and say, let's grab that program count again. And I'm going to drag it down here and make it a data value. And I'm going to count, not count distinct. And then I'm going to grab programs again and throw it in the legend. And just like magic, boom, there we go. This is the distribution of people in the program. So let's change the title on this, make it a little bit more relevant. Enrollments by program. So as an aside, this is, by the way, a very good way for me to check the data and make sure that the data is accurate, because theoretically no one should be able to be enrolled twice. So I'm going to dynamically filter the data. Just click on this pie chart, 17 patients, 17 enrollments. 15 and 15, 15 and 15, no errors in the data. Last thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a quick view of who we actually have got in the programs. And I'm just going to grab the last name, and I'm going to grab their date of birth and when we ingested them into the program. So now again, if I wanted to know what programs this user's in, and I didn't want to open the app, I can just click on this, filter down the data. This person's only in the one program, the day program. As I scroll through it, this person is actually in 2 programs. Similarly, if I wanted a list of everybody in the residential program, I can filter the data down, and here are those 15 users. So this is great. This is going to work. But before we go, let's make it a little bit nicer for him. Let's just clean it up. So I'm going to quickly add an image as a wallpaper, and let's grab this. I like this. This is good. And we'll fit it. And here we go. That's not too shabby. And then I'm going to I might pull in a logo file. I might do any number of other things. And in the end, what I'm going to end up with is something that looks just like this. All I'm going to do now is publish this. I'm going to save my changes. And I'm going to save it right to my Modern Medical Solutions team, which was created dynamically as a workspace in Power BI. So at the point that this is now saved, I can go in and go to my ModMed general, rather app development. Let's add a Power BI app. And I'm going to go to my modern medical workspace. It's probably down towards the bottom. I have to cycle through all these. I wish they would put this in some kind of order, but they don't. I missed it again. This is where it gets fun, because now I'm doing live demos and can't find my own workspace. If I can't find it quickly, I'm just going to use one of my other ones. Right now, somebody's like, hey, you just scrolled right by it. Okay, you know what? It's fine. I'm just going to grab my workspace and grab this and save it. And I put a copy of it there before. So there's my enrollments by program. This is a prior version that I was messing around with, but that's fine. So I'm just going to rename this dashboard. And we told him we'd call him, tell him when we were done. So let's go and hit him back one more time. And we'll go choose Ryan. And there we go. Hey, Ryan.
How's it going?
Good. App is published. Dashboard is built. Dashboard is published. Check it out when you get a minute, and just shoot me a note in Teams, because I'm running out of time and I want to show these people one last thing. All right?
You're quick. I appreciate it.
Thanks, bud. Bye. Okay, so we took care of Ryan. We've built our app. We've created our analytics for that app. We've done all the things we wanted to do there. The last thing is, before we started this call, I wanted to demo something to you. I got a phone call from one of my guys, Kyle, who's actually in the office right now. He's at Envision's physical office, and we've moved some things around. He's trying to light up a port in a conference room so that he can work. So we're going to reach out to him, and I'm going to show you one other very advanced feature of Microsoft Teams. This is a feature that's about being able to have experienced people help inexperienced people in the field. All right. There's Mr. Kyle Mueller.
Hello, Todd.
Hello, Kyle. All right. First things first, those of you on this call may be noticing that my video is hovering in midair in front of Kyle. Kyle, you want to explain why that's happening?
Of course. So what we're using right now for this demo is a HoloLens 2. It's a new mixed reality headset from Microsoft. And what we have hovering in the air in front of us right now is really cool, because if you look as I move around, let's walk over here, it's always continually facing me. And if I turn away, it follows me right over here where I'm at.
So this is called mixed reality. What's the difference between mixed reality and augmented reality, Kyle?
So the big difference between mixed reality and augmented reality is mixed reality really blurs the lines between the reality in front of us and the virtual augmentations. So if we look at your video here, I can actually move you around, and let's pin you in place. So I'm just going to keep you right where you're at, and I can walk around and view different sides of you coming from different angles, and even have you interact with the environment around me, which is what really makes mixed reality important. So I can actually pin things up against a wall, as an example here, and it'll stay on that wall even after I leave the room. If I have you pinned to that spot, you'll be right there where I left you. So let's walk way over here, look back over, and you're right on that wall where I put you.
Great. All right. Well, so I understand you're trying to get one of the conference rooms lit up. Let's do this. Go ahead, unpin me so that I follow you. And I'm going to have you just step in front of the rack for me. And let's use remote assist here and take a photo of the rack real quick.
Sounds great. So I'll just move us all over here before I pop into the camera. Now I'm in the camera. Take a picture. I'll try to get the whole rack nice and in view for you here. And that
And there
picture
I
should
can
be to you
see the
shortly.
video that just popped, and now I can see it saving dynamically to the cloud. Now, if I look at mine, I've got in my chat, I've got a notification, and if I click on that, there's the picture that you just took for me has been automatically chatted to me by the Remote Assist app. So I'm going to real quickly open that separately for a second and just take a look at what you need to get that conference room lit up. So there's my image, and I see a bunch of open ports on the switch, and I happen to know what port we are talking about in the conference room. All right, so Kyle, if you'll do me a favor, just stand in front of the switch for a second. And we're going to take a look at kind of those bottom couple switches right there. Yeah, just like that. Just stay right there for a sec. So what I'm going to do to help Kyle is I'm going to click on Start Editing. And I'm now going to grab in my tool set a little arrow indicator. And Kyle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a blue arrow on the port that I want you to actually plug into on the switch. So I'm just going to grab this first port right there. And then I'm going to put a yellow arrow on the port on the patch panel that I'd like you to plug into. And so we'll put that there. Okay, now if I look at what he's seeing in the real world, you can see that his real world view includes those arrows. So real quickly, Kyle, will you move off to the side and show them the dimensional aspect of this?
Yep.
As you can see, these are actually three-dimensional objects that are angularly connected to the world. So if you've got your patch cable there, can you just go ahead and make those connections for me, Kyle?
Absolutely. So we're going into the bottom left over here.
Yep.
And then port number 32 up here, correct?
Correct. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete my little annotations from your field of view. Perfect. All right, let's go into the conference room that you wanted to light up.
And so I'm just going to unpin you here so that you follow me in.
Yeah,
Don't
so
want to leave you
take
in
me
the
with
other
you.
room. Turn on the light for you. There we go.
Yeah, so just kind of take a step back from the wall for me for a minute. Yeah, all right, so right there, that's good. So first things first, when you plug in your laptop, I'm just going to circle for you in red. This is actually where I'm looking for you to plug in, please. And then if you can kind of turn your head to the right, I know you're not real familiar with this room, you actually will find a data network right there. Kind of in the back corner. Yep, there you go.
Perfect.
That's it. And my little arrow was pinned to the desk. But go ahead and get a little closer to that for me for a second, if you would. Yeah. So I'm just going to throw an arrow on this. It's this top drop that I'd like you to plug into when you're ready. All right. So I think that's what you need to get the conference room going. You're all set.
That gives me everything I need. Thanks, Todd.
All right, man. Thanks very much. Bye.
Have a good one.
Hey Todd, I know
All
we're
right, so
I know we're getting to wrap.
I got 1 minute left. What's the question?
Someone asked about file syncing, that you showed how to sync, but they wanted a little bit of information about what you do if you don't want to sync files anymore.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, sure, that's a quick thing. If I had a folder that I was syncing, like for example, I've got my Modern Med Solutions, and I decided I don't want to sync it anymore. First thing I'm going to do is say free up space. Then I'm going to go into OneDrive, and it's going to take me 1 second to get this on your screen so you can see it. Actually, I'm not sure I can as I think about it. Yes, I can. Okay. So these are the settings in OneDrive. And so right down here is Modern Medical Solutions. I'm just going to say stop syncing. And as soon as I say stop syncing, when I go in and look at my folder, you're going to see this Modern Medical Solutions no longer has a cloud icon. I can now just delete this, and it's fine. It won't impact anything. It won't affect any of the cloud files. So it's that easy. No big deal. And that, by the way, can be done by policy as well through Azure Active Directory. So kind of let's wrap it up here. We're down to the last minute. What I wanted to just kind of wrap up with is just to say that, as you saw with Microsoft HoloLens, I used it as an example of one way that I could have an experienced engineer helping a relatively new technician to do something technical. This can be used in all manner of use cases, not just in IT. Certainly field personnel can be using this technology. Anybody in the service industry can be using this technology. But the reason that we invested in HoloLens and have joined the developer program there is because we see a world where we have analytics that are pinned to real world objects through Power BI, where we could literally look down a row of machines and see the health and well-being of every machine above it, where I could have power apps that have virtual buttons in midair above a machine where when I tap it, it kicks off an automation that changes how the entire plant is running. I picture a world for my retail clients where they can pick up an object in a store, look at it, and HoloLens will capture the barcode and present analytics to them about what's available in an inventory and when the last one of these was sold and what the value of that inventory is actually worth. I picture a world where we've got documents, physical documents on a desk that when you pick them up and look at them, you can see the last person that worked on them digitally. HoloLens is a tremendously powerful technology and integrated against Microsoft Teams. So this last slide is 365 Live, is a new service that Envision is going to be setting up. I wanted to give you guys kind of the insider heads up. We're going to be creating a user community here in New England for 365 users to connect with each other, to connect with experts from Envision, to connect with experts from Microsoft. Very shortly, you will get an email from us asking if you're interested. It will cost nothing to be a member of 365 Live, and you will get access to webinars specifically for that group, along with a Teams channel and content, and access to experts and the ability to collaborate with other companies around you that are doing the same things that you're trying to do. So we'll be making that available to you in the coming weeks. Hope you guys will take the time and join us. Thank you guys so much for spending the hour with me today. I really do appreciate it. As I mentioned, you can email me if you want to know more. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll be glad to connect with you at any point. I'm going to hang on the line for another 5 minutes here to answer any questions. If you have them, feel free to pop them in the questions box. And if I don't get any questions by 3:08, then I will end the webinar for everybody. Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate your time.